So welcome tonight to Exploring Art Mediums. Tonight we're going to venture into kind of Chinese painting. We're going to be using a lot of black. We're not going to break out the Sumi ink, but if you have Sumi ink and you want to do that instead of using the black watercolor, you're more than welcome to. We're just really not going to use black at all in this picture, just a tad. So it's just worth we'll just use our watercolor black for that. But if we jump into this one, if we have time to do this bamboo one, that's a good chance for you to use your Sumi black if you want. And we might have time to do this little candle. Okay, so I'm going to show you, to begin with, I'm going to show you the video on Instagram. So I'm going to share my screen, and it's on my Instagram page, and I don't know if any of you follow Instagram, but there is a gal named Nan Ray, and she does beautiful Chinese work. So we're going to watch this first video of how she uses her brush strokes. Okay, she uses the side of her brush, and this is sped up. So, but see how it skips, and that's just a beautiful. And now she's done kind of a bamboo piece behind, but it almost looks like chicken bones, right? And then she goes back with lines in between the bamboo. It's really, really pretty. Chinese painting is done with, see how vertical her paintbrush is? You just hold it upright. It's kind of a different way of holding it, but she's able to get really fine lines. The little stems are done. She hasn't really changed her brush at all, but she's been able to do a big broad stroke for the bamboo sticks, and then she's used her point to get the tiny stems and the leaves. Isn't that gorgeous? I just think it's beautiful. So if you're interested, it's Nan Ray Fine Art. And she does a lot of classes. I'm sorry?
How does she keep her sleeves from dragging through the paint?
Don't you wonder? She always wears a white blouse, and I've never seen her get it dirty. I don't know how she keeps clean.
Amazing.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So here's her little candlestick. I'm sorry?
What is her last name again?
It's Nan Ray, Nanrae.
R-A-E, okay.
And then Fine Art.
Okay.
Yeah. And she has YouTube classes. She posts a lot of YouTube. She lives in California, but she's just an amazing artist. I'm just going to show you one of her poinsettias. We're not doing poinsettias tonight, but let me just show you. This is her right here. Can you see her?
Yeah.
Okay. So she always wears that white blouse, and I don't know how she keeps it clean. So watch how she pushes down. See how a Chinese bristle brush really squishes down, and it kind of doesn't bounce back very quickly. And so you're able to do broad, fat strokes, and then it goes down to a point. And we're going to mimic those strokes tonight. We're going to practice those before we start our Amaryllis. But I just want you to look at how she's bringing those points and lines down. And then when she switches to the green and the pink for the leaves, you'll see again, now she's switched over to her, there's the green. And she's double loaded her brush at this point. There's pink up at the top of the brush, and then she loads green at the bottom. And that's how you get the two-toned with one brush stroke. Isn't that amazing? So yeah. She's full of great tips. And if we have a chance tonight, I would like us to try this one. Watch this one. It is doing little bamboo. Those little sticks are the branches, and it's just short little strokes on the tip of her brush, and then she starts pushing down. with her brush. Now they've edited this video, so she's never dipping her brush, but she goes back and dips her brush. And then she's adding white where snow would be. And I think if we have time, we're going to try to do this one too.
Is that a white watercolor?
It is a ink.
Oh.
She did Sakura white poster color. So it's like a gouache or a like if you were to do calligraphy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So is that pretty amazing? That's going to be fun. Okay. And then the last one we're going to try to do is this candlestick. And this is just a one stroke. Watch, she does this whole candle in a downward motion and then an upward motion. And it's really quickly done for the candle itself. Okay, here she goes down. It's that bone shape again, and then back up. And then she dips her brush again and she does a little curl. That's all. Then she's dipped it again into the yellow. And now she's doing the green pine needles. And we'll just watch this one too. And it's like it's a suggestion of it. It's not, it doesn't have to be realistic and it's solid, but it's beautiful in its simplicity, I believe. And I think that's what I'm looking for right now is some really just easy little paintings for us to do. Okay, so that's that.
Wow.
So now look at her stamp. Okay, I'm going to show you. She's got a little cushion underneath to make sure the stamp comes out really clean. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So let me stop my sharing. And do you guys have any questions about what we're going to do? We're going to start with the Amaryllis. And we're going to actually, I hope you all have a scrap piece of paper that you can practice some strokes on. Even if it's just a little strip of a paper, we can still practice our strokes on it. So what we're going to do is, oh, I need to spotlight my video. Hold on. Spotlight and mute. Okay. Okay. So if you want to get a little scratch piece of paper, you can even like take one out of your mixed media tablet or cardstock, copy paper from your printer, that's fine too. We're just going to practice some of these strokes. So there's 3 kinds of paint that they use. And the first one has mostly water and then a little bit of pigment. So, and they call it, let's see. So this is 20, it would be 25% paint, 75% water. Okay. And then it's called T-E-A. So it's a weak mixture. And it would be like taking your red with a lot of water and just a little bit of red. Okay, so that would be the T. The next one is half of each. So it's 50% paint, 50% water. They call this one milk. And to do that, then you would load more paint on your brush. Okay. And the next one is 75% paint and 25% water. So this is a really rich one, and they call it butter. So to do that, we're going to get a lot of pigment this time, as much as you can on that red brush with a little bit of water. Okay. So that's our 3 different kinds of saturation values. And then I'm going to just show you some strokes. Now, if you have Chinese brushes, they bend really, really easy and stay that way, but they don't split. Like, see how this one's splitting all apart? They'll actually stay in a point when you do that. These ones are going to bounce back. So we're kind of faking it tonight. What we're going to do is push down. So I'm going to take a good amount of red, and I'm just going to start at the top, push down, and come to a point. And I want to kind of come to a half circle like that. I'm going to get more color, and I'm going to do it the other side, this time to the right, like that. So you can go over it if you don't like how that turned out. Okay. The other one to learn is we can start at the center and come down. We can, so this side we could come like this and press like that. Reload again, press. This one's curving this way. And I would do it again this way, the opposite way. So you can see we're developing petals just by pressing down and lifting and coming to a point. Okay. That's really the main strokes of these flowers. Another stroke we're going to try is this one, where it comes like this and comes to a point. And then we'd have to do the opposite way. So you get a side view. Okay. We also will.
Debbie,
Yes.
Debbie, what size brush are you using here?
I'm using a huge one, a 12.
Oh, okay.
So you can use any size. It just means that your picture is going to turn out smaller. So here's a 8. Let me try it with that. So whatever size brush you've got will work. It's just going to be a different size flower. All her strokes, all of Nan Ray's strokes are done one stroke. That's it. You just touch the page once and she's done. Me, I kind of have to go over it. I'm not confident enough to leave it as is. And so we'll see. Now I'm going to double dip. So I want orange and red. We're going to use both the orange and the red. And so I want orange in the bottom. I want orange at the top here. And I want red at the tip. And so this is just going to be for another flower. So get your orange wet.
Are you using a clean brush? Start all
Yes.
over?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's clean, clean. Thank you for asking that. Yes. Okay, so I've got orange that I've loaded in it. It's hard to see. But then I'm going to just dip it in the red. So I've got red on the tip. Okay. So, yeah, see, that's not enough orange. Let me see. We want to get that good and orange because it's going to be our second flower, the little bud, or this the smaller flower. It gives it a warmer, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I can tell a difference between these two. This one's more rosy, this one is warmer. Maybe you can see it better there. Okay. Another one we're going to use is this bright green, but we're going to mix, I think you guys have, it's hard to know what greens are on those little dots that I made up. We're going to do a green and add a yellow ochre to it to make it kind of a limey green, a yellowy. I don't know if you can see. Can you guys see this color right here? Kind of an olivey. So I mixed, what is that color? It's something green with yellow ochre. It's not Kelly green. Oh, it's yellow green. Okay, so this is yellow green, and I mixed it with yellow ochre and have made this olive color. So again, our stroke, let me see if I can get the magazine in here. We're going to be coming around for our petal on our amaryllis and come up and around like that. And then we'll go down for the stem. So let's try that. I'm just gonna go. And it needs to be kind of watery so it flows pretty easily. Like that. And then, you know how she did that kind of bamboo at the top? Like that. Okay. And we'll go down as far on our paper as possible. Then we're going to do a leaf, and that's a mixture of this blue-green and the yellow-green that we have. Shouldn't have done that. Oh well. And that's going to be just like that. Again, one stroke, hopefully. And actually, you might want to try Prussian blue on that. I'm just looking at her. There we go. You want to add Prussian blue to it for sure. Okay, those are our strokes for the flower. It's going to be really easy. So you ready to tackle it? Let me get big again so we can see the whole page. We add little details too at the end. We're going to be adding a stamen and the pistils that kind of hung out. We're also adding yellow in the center here. And then our leaves of different colors. Each leaf's a different color. You ready to get started? Okay. So let's take we're not really going to be drawing anything. I want this first flower up here on the left, okay? Kind of sitting right here, and then I'm gonna do the other bloom over here. So that right there, and then over here. So I'm gonna go back to my big brush. You guys can use any size you want. I'm going to try to just do one stroke. That's my goal tonight, is just try to do one stroke on all these. Okay, so remember, let's start over here. We're going to just come down on a C, like we're going to squish it and come down. See, I didn't do so well. It's not loaded enough. Too much water. Okay. Then you're going to come down the other side to meet it.
Which dilution are we using for this one?
Which what?
Dilution?
A solution? We're
Yeah,
using probably the milk. Probably we want some opacity in spots.
Okay.
So half and half. That was a good question. Why did I even show you if I'm not talking about it? It is pretty opaque, but we're going to see that we can layer 2 leaves over each other, and that gives it a nice glaze. So this next one is just going to go straight up and down. And then the next one is right next to it. And you can kind of do little spikies here at the bottom, because we're going to be pulling that into the center. That's going to be the center. Okay, then moving on, we're going to go this way. And then again, to meet it. Go ahead and add little lines at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to jump over to this side. Here we're going to just do a C in this opposite direction, and I'm just going to come back around and lift up. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to come down and lift up and come back up. And then I come around on the other side to meet that and come back up, but I want a little point. That point's important. Okay. And then in the middle, so this next one, I'm going to kind of wiggle it. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go push and push. I'm doing a double push on that one. So I get this kind of bumpy, I don't know if you can see it well enough. It gets this bumpy little edge right here. And I'm going to come around and do the same thing, push and push. Both of these, I need to take some lines up to the center. And then I'm going to do one more set of petals right here. Again, lots of water, half and half. This one I'm curving because it's going to curve down, but it's going to go to a point. And then the other side comes around and meets it. Looks all blotchy on the camera. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so now this is when, no, you know what? I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so now we're going to pick up the orange, and you want pretty wet. And then you're going to dab it, your tip into the red. Now we're going to start by doing the sideways petals first up at the top. And all we do, oops, is go like that. I'm going to have to incorporate that little bump. Not quite sure how to do that.
So you went in opposite directions there?
This time I did, yeah. So we could go, you can pull down from the top, or you can pull from the bottom of the petal and go up. So it just doesn't matter, whichever you fit. So this time I'll go this way if you want, so you can see. Okay. You guys see how I'm building this? I'm building this off. We're building this right here. We're building this little flower that's right up here, and then a third flower down here. So we're doing this smaller one that's kind of out this way. And then we'll do this larger one that's over here to the right. Okay. So right now I've got the two. I'm not going to load again. It's pretty dark. It's got kind of this C right there. And then it's got a full petal out to here.
I think your camera moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. So there's a petal right here, and then another full petal right next to it. And then one that tips down. So that completes that flower right there. So then the next one, it gets the one petal right here, here, here. And so it's got 4 petals, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's a lot of orange and red in both. The second petal. Okay. And that's it. Now, while these are still wet, we're going to go back. I hope all of you have a small paintbrush for small details. If you don't, probably the tip of your smallest brush that you've got will work, and you're just going to have to hold it upright to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to add some lines in between the petals. You can see right here, we've got to put this, it's a mixture of black and the red. Just a tad of black and mostly red. And we're going to put divisions down the petals, okay? And we need to do that while it's still wet. So I'm going to just take red over to the side, rinse my brush, go into the black, and bring that over. I don't know if you can see what I'm mixing. I'm just mixing the black and the red together to get kind of a maroon. And then you just go up. And I want you to press and go thin and press and go thin. I want you to vary the thickness of your line. I don't want just a straight line. I want you to press and release and press and release. It really adds a lot of variety that way. And follow the curve of your lines, of the petals, and it enhances the curvature when you do that. And I start from the outside petal, push down and come up. So kind of in the middle, and you know, it just makes it look like you're, where the petal's a little bit curved, it's showing it as a little bit wider. I'm going to continue with these orange ones now and do the same thing. Still with that burgundy black, and just go in where you think the petal division is, right down the middle. It may be a little wet for it to be distinguishable, and we can go back later. I hope you guys had a good holiday. I didn't even ask about that. I guess because it was so quiet. Okay. Yeah, that's still really wet. Okay. So this same burgundy is used for the stamen. This flower stamen comes out to the right. So we're just going to bring it all the way out like that. I don't know if you can see that well enough. Do you see that? And then you do kind of a zigzaggy kind of little thing at the end to make it look fuzzy. Does that make sense? Right there. The one at the top gets it right here. And then you can draw little lines too, because we're going to go back with yellow and add the rest of it. And then the third one, the original flower, it's going to go off to the left. It's going to go this way. Again, it's that murky maroon. I'm going to take it out here. Just like that. And then it gets some lines. We'll see later. Okay. One last thing is I'm going to get yellow. And we want a really heavy yellow. Yellow is hard to show up anyway, but so we want a really butter, meaning 75% paint, 25% water. We're just going to dab the ends of these stamens. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. So we're just going to be dabbing yellow right there. And then also in the middle here a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to pause it. In our Chinese painting, that just made me think, Chinese painters use mineral grade pigments. So you want mineral-based watercolors for Chinese painting. Along with your Sumi ink, you guys know what the Sumi ink is? I don't know where my bottle of Sumi ink is, but it is Chinese. It is actually from China, and it is just a runny black. And it's, you know, Chinese painting evolved from Chinese calligraphy first, and they use this Sumi. Oh, there you go. Kitty's got some. You guys see her bottle right there?
Fine. There's this.
Yep. And are there two different kinds?
Yes, this one is. Oh, I don't know if I'm.
Is one's a permanent?
This one, they're both permanent. This one is really cheap and it's watery and inconsistent and it flows terribly. This one is much better quality and it's much more inky. And you can get a
And
lot more different tones with this.
how did you choose the white lidded one? Where did you get that?
This one's from Japan. This one is also from Japan. Wait, no, I lied. This one is from China. This one's from Japan. There's
Mhm.
very slight differences between the two countries in their production. It's pretty much the same.
Uh-huh.
You can almost always tell by price. It's truly one of those things where you get what you pay for with Sumi.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I would say, especially for painting, where you want a little bit more control of the non-control of the ink,
Yeah.
you don't want to pay less than $10 a bottle.
Yeah. That's for sure. Now, Jerry's Artorama has a great selection of Sumi inks down in San Antonio, if you're ever down that way. Okay, let's move on. We're ready for our stem. Again, we're doing, if you're just joining us, we are painting with the olive green. We mixed it with the spring green, yellow green, and yellow ochre, and made kind of an olive green. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up in a little bit in between these two petals and push down, and then drag it all the way down. Now, I didn't have enough pigment on that, so I'm going to repeat it. Okay. It has one little leaf off to the right, just to see, just push down and lift up. And then one to the left over here. I wish I had my Chinese brushes. I don't know where they are. Okay. Once you've done that green stem, we're ready to move on to the leaves. And the very first leaf we're going to do is this one that's right next to the stem. It is a mixture of, you want to pick up some, double load your brush. So you've got the green on from your stem, and I want you to dip in the blue green right here. Okay. So I'm just going to go in here and dip it in the tip, and I'm going to come down. just so it's a different color than the other one.
Is that one pointed?
I'm sorry?
Is that the center one that's a little bit more pointed?
This one?
Yeah.
Yes, it's pointed at the top, yes. Then over on the right, we're going to do another one. This time I'm going to add, I still am going to keep the green that's on my brush, the yellow green, olive green. But then I'm going to dip in the Prussian blue. This one starts up higher. And it's going to come down. And I'm going to add a lot more blue to that. Over on the left, we're going to do a series of 3. I'm going to pick up more green. We'll do our big one over here. And I'm going to go in the blue. So I've got a total, I don't know if you guys can see this. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 petals and 1 stem. I'm going to add a little bit of red. We have that little maroon that we were working with before. I'm going to add I'm just dropping it in on these dark blue ones. I want the red to, actually I'm going to go in this one too. Now we're going to sign this, and the way we're going to do this, we're going to do kind of a Chinese little signature. I don't know if you guys can see this, what I've done. I've just made up a little figure. Obviously it's not readable. My son can can speak Japanese, so I should really ask him to draw me a figure. But we're just going to pretend, okay? So you're just going to do little signature, little black, 2 little blocks of squiggles. And then you're going to do a red stamp. Everybody's got their own stamp. My husband has this stamp, and he picked up, I don't know where he picked it up. But if you look at it, it's got his name. It's got his name, and then it's the characters that spell his name. So I'm going to use this. at the bottom and see if I can do it. Now I'm going to pad my paper because to do this stamp, you kind of need a cushion. So I'm going to try this and see if it works. I might try it on my test first. Okay. You can't see what I'm doing. Let's see. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little brush and dip it in black. You guys see that? So you're just making up a little stamp signature. Now, when I put that black line down the middle of those leaves, it bled. What do you call it? When it clouds, ghosting. So I might go back and clean that up.
So how are you doing that? Cleaning it up?
I'm lifting it. I'm actually it's got black line, but it kind of bled through the whole thing. So I'm just going over it with a clean wet brush to kind of take out the ghosting. And then I'll go back and add more pigment. Did you guys have the same situation? Or is yours okay?
Mine's okay.
See, now I just put it on when it was extra, like in that middle zone of still too wet, but not dry enough. And it kind of went ugly on me. Okay. So it's still a problem. There we go. Okay. So that's our Amaryllis. How'd you guys do? Let me pause it. So we're gonna just do two little sketches real quick. I'm using mixed media paper. You can use cardstock, printing paper, watercolor paper, anything you've got. For this one, I'm just going to do a light gray. So I'm gonna do black with a lot of water. So this would be kind of a tea stain that we're doing. You're just gonna go over the piece and we're just gonna let it dry. A lot of water, hardly any color. Because when we go over it with our black, we want to be able to see it. And if you've got Sumi ink and you want to use it for this, this is a good exercise for your Sumi ink. Okay, so not hard. I'm just going to leave this to dry. Okay, and set that one right there. This one, we're just going to do, it's a 1-stroke candle. And I showed you the video on it already. We're just going to load our paint brush with red. And you can use your thickest, your biggest brush. And remember, we're just going to do, we're going to go across and then down and then back up a little bit. And then we'll dip in and do a little curve. Okay. So we're just going to get red. I'm going to use the side of my brush. I'm going to go across this way and then drag it down. And then I'm going to come back up like that. Okay. That wasn't very straight. You guys do better than I did. And then it's just a little curve over there. Like the wax is peeling, like melting kind of stuff. Okay. Now, I don't know why it did that. So I'm going to add red back in there. Now we need a really clean brush to do the yellow. You may even want to change brushes. Use your yellow, use a different brush for a yellow. Because this is one time that you don't want the yellow polluted. So I'm actually going in some clean water. I'm going to get a thick yellow. And again, it's just 1 stroke. And I'm not going all the way to the bottom of the candle. And then I'll do a little wick out of brown or black. I think I used brown last time. Okay. So this same brown, I'm going to, we still have a lot of our green left over. So I'm going to make this a dark, dark green by adding some black to it. Now I'm still using my tiny brush. See, we want a forest green, a pine green. Okay. And we're going to kind of draw a circle, kind of a candle ring shape around here. Still need a darker. The needles are quite dark. Make sure you make them cross over each other. You don't want them just soldiering down the stem, equal distant apart. You want some thicker, some thinner, crossing over, all different ways. Once you've filled that out to where you like it, then you're just going to drop in red berries. Now, when you're doing the red berries, you can leave the center white. So kind of do a little circle, or you can just dab it. If you just dab it, that's great. If you want to leave a little circle, I'll try to do a little circle, and you can see the little white dot can make it look like it's the reflection of on the berry. Of course, you can't have any green in that white dot, so you got to be careful where you place the berry. I like to do 3 berries or 1 berry, kind of group them together that way. Do a little odd numbers. Okay. So that's our candle. Pretty quick, right? And I'm going to pause it while we catch up. Okay, so we're going to move on to the bamboo one, and I'm going to show you the video again so we can see how that goes. Let's see. You'll see all my things that I'm. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so what I want you to pay attention to is how she does the structure of her branches. Looks like when she does it, it's going to cross over it. It's got this V right here. There's a V. So that's our first thing. And then she brings one branch crossing over. That's all you really have to remember. And then she goes back and just starts adding the leaves. And then she just does the white dots on top. Okay. Now the snow will catch in the V's and on the very top of the leaves. It'll in the crotch of the branches, on the top of the stems, branches, that kind of thing. And she does it in a dotted little fashion. And then she splatters. Okay, so here we go. We're going to come back to our page. We're going to get our finest brush and load it with black.
What number is your brush?
I am using this size 5.
Thank you.
Pretty small. And you want kind of an inky consistency for your black. The worst thing that can happen is it's not dark enough and then you have to go back over your stems. Remember, she went in a kind of a jerky motion, little short bamboo stalks. And so that's what we're going to do. So here we go. I'm just going to take it up that way. This one, I'm coming this way. Came back down with one. Basically, that's it. I might bring it out a little farther. Now you may find she started at the top of her bamboo leaf at the stem and dragged it down. You may find that it works that way best, or you may want to go the opposite way and start with a point. But let's try just bringing it down and lifting. They're going to be all different sizes. She has little ones at the top. I think there was a little branch up here. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to do. I don't know what happened to my, I've got some Dr. Phil Martin's white ink, which would work really great. Ah, I found it. You guys know this brand? Have you seen this? So if you haven't, and you've got some gouache left over from other classes, it will rehydrate if it's not the permanent ones. And so you can do that. I've got an old, I have an old white right here that I can reconstitute. Okay, let's start. Now it's wet still, so we have to be kind of careful, but we can start adding dots of white along the branches. Again, you want to vary it. You don't want to do just a straight line, obviously. Then you want to get the top of the leaves if you can. You just have to be careful getting into the black ink while it's still so wet. Okay. I'm going to just sprinkle. You guys know how to make it snow, right? You just tap. Has to be watery enough to fall off your brush. That's it. There, I stamped that one. Works better to use the gouache on this stamp than watercolor. So I want to know how you guys feel about learning some more Chinese flowers and stuff like cherry blossoms in the springtime. Like that would be good. That'd be fun. Good. It is a different brush stroke, and so we could learn that. It's an apple blossom wreath, and I think it'd be not apple blossom, cherry blossom wreath, and it'd be really fun to do. Okay. Great. Well, thanks for joining me tonight. And next month, let me show you what we're going to be doing in January. I'm kind of excited about this. I decided to make a memory box for 2020 for us to put all our stuff in, maybe Christmas cards or things for this year that have, you know, you kind of, it's a different year. So we're going to be decorating these boxes and doing collage on them, okay? So you'll have to come and pick up a kit that includes all the stuff on here. I've got a book of Hans Brinker and the Silver Skates, and you'll get old book pages to use to decorate your box, and doilies and stamps and things. Oops, there we go. So that's in January, the last Monday of January. We're going to be just decorating some boxes. You could even store your Christmas cards from this past year in them. I'm even thinking of, I've done a screenshot of all the COVID graphs on my camera, and I thought I might print those out and stick in the box, and just for posterity's sake, so they can see how the pandemic went for our family. Anyway, just an idea. So thanks for joining me again, and we'll finish this class offline. Bye-bye.